One of the biggest questions our one-on-one clients come to us with is, what type of reflux do I have? There are several types of reflux, and understanding the type of reflux you have is really important for developing the right treatment plan. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Molly. I'm a registered dietitian and a reflux specialist, and I personally struggled with GERD for over a decade. And so I know how it feels to be really searching for how to overcome your symptoms and how to heal irritated tissue once and for all and get your life back. Reflux can absolutely take over your whole life, and it can be really hard physically and emotionally. So I created this YouTube channel to help support you on your reflux journey. I actually documented my whole journey with reflux, so be sure to check that out in my reflux playlist. And I go through in detail how I overcame reflux in this video here. So if you're curious on my full story, you can check that out here. But I essentially have dedicated my whole life to help you find relief from reflux. And so if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe down below. Join the family for weekly videos that could help you find relief from reflux and transform your health. So I already mentioned that I had GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. So let's start there. It's a really common diagnosis that someone will get when they go to the doctor with symptoms of heartburn, chest pain, regurgitation. Those are some of the most common symptoms of GERD, but there's also symptoms of GERD like pain underneath the rib cage, shortness of breath. You may feel like something is stuck in your throat, throat burning, postnasal drip, mucus production, excessive salivation as well. And all of these symptoms is really your body's response to reflux. So things moving from the stomach up into the esophagus. And that can create a lot of irritation, inflammation, and sometimes even damage in the esophagus. When you go to the doctor with these symptoms, one of the things they will recommend typically is an endoscopy procedure. And this procedure takes a look at the tissue of the esophagus. It looks at if there's any strictures or narrowing in the esophagus. It looks at the lower esophageal junction to see how it's functioning. It also looks at potential hiatal hernia in the area of your esophageal junction that might be contributing to reflux. And it looks at, most importantly, if there's any irritation, inflammation, or damage in the esophagus and the stomach. You also may get some biopsies taken for celiac disease or H. pylori in an endoscopy procedure. But the endoscopy is typically how people are diagnosed with gastroesophageal reflux disease. And what separates just traditional acid reflux from GERD is that gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, is when you have acid reflux 2 or more times per week. So this is really like a reoccurring pattern. And that's what's problematic, because occasional reflux is actually normal. More than 60% of North America report occasional acid reflux. But what's problematic is when it's happening all the time or when it's uncontrolled. So there's so many root causes of reflux, and I go into detail in a previous video about the common root causes of reflux, but today I'm really going to just articulate the 3 main types of reflux. So in summary, GERD is characterized by some inflammation in the esophagus, the stomach, and it's really a recurring reflux problem. Now, you may have heard of silent reflux or laryngopharyngeal reflux, also known as LPR. Some people also call it respiratory reflux. This is a type of reflux that presents a little bit differently than GERD. This is a type of reflux where you don't have any heartburn. So these people who are diagnosed with LPR, they may have never really thought about reflux before because they don't get the traditional heartburn symptom, but these people may have symptom of feeling like something is stuck in the throat, like a globus sensation in the throat. They may have a lot of mucus production, coughing, especially after meals or when they lay down. You may also have difficulty breathing. Voice changes is another really common symptom with LPR. The symptoms are primarily in the throat and the respiratory system. These symptoms are often confused with allergies or a cold, because when we have allergies, we can have really similar types of symptoms. But this is often diagnosed actually at an ear, nose, and throat doctor. So this is another person you could see if you have more of the LPR type symptoms and you're curious about silent reflux. They may look down, they may do a laryngoscopy and kind of see if there's any inflammation that looks like reflux. One of the key differences between GERD and LPR is that LPR is actually pepsin-mediated reflux, so it's driven by pepsin. What that means is when stomach contents move into the esophagus, they usually contain an enzyme called pepsin, which in your stomach, really helpful. It helps break down proteins, but when pepsin moves into the tissues of the esophagus in the throat, it can actually burrow into the tissues of the esophagus in the throat. And this can be really inflammatory and really painful and can cause those symptoms in your throat or the mucus production. Your body essentially produces mucus in response to inflammation. So you might have coughing, postnasal drip, throat clearing. It can be damaging to the vocal cords and it can cause shortness of breath as well. So I mentioned that this type of reflux is often pepsin mediated. That doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have acid reflux. Sometimes LPR is associated with non-acidic reflux. So your reflux coming up is not acidic. So you're not getting that heartburn feeling. You're just getting the pepsin mediated symptoms. Most of the time LPR is non-acid reflux. But whether or not this is non-acidic because you're already on a PPI or because you have hypochlorhydria, that takes a little bit of more investigating, and that might be something that we talk about in an initial session together, is kind of diving into your reflux, your symptoms, trying to understand what might be driving your symptoms. You can apply for that session down below in the description of this video. A question I get a lot is, can you have LPR and GERD? And the answer is yes. One thing I do see pretty frequently is people going on PPIs, and what we know from my previous video on PPIs, which you can watch right here if you tap here, is that PPIs don't actually stop reflux. So PPIs reduce the acidity of the reflux, but the reflux continues to happen, and so this reflux may have pepsin in it, and when pepsin moves into the esophagus, then you can get the LPR type symptoms. So what I see a lot of is people going on PPIs, reflux wasn't well controlled, nutrition and lifestyle didn't really change, or the root cause wasn't addressed, and then the symptoms turn into LPR. So that's something that you do want to be aware of. Okay, another type of reflux that is actually very common is called reflux hypersensitivity. And this type of reflux is often diagnosed with a test called a pH impedance test. This is a phenomenal test that really looks at the type of reflux you're having. It tests the pH of the reflux, when it's happening, how severe it is, how far it's coming up, and this type of reflux hypersensitivity, would be diagnosed if you had a pH impedance test and it didn't show any reflux. It didn't show that you were refluxing, but you reported a lot of reflux symptoms during that test. Now, this is really helpful because this could lead to potentially another diagnosis, suggest that you're having these symptoms not because of reflux, or it could suggest that you have an esophagus that is really, really hypersensitive. This hypersensitivity of the esophagus can be something that happens to people with a history of GERD. So maybe you used to have reflux, you used to have GERD, but you no longer do, but you still feel like anything that passes through causes reflux. You may have hypersensitivity, and this is managed a little bit differently medically and nutritionally. We know from research that stress can also contribute to esophageal hypersensitivity. So stress can make those nerve endings really sensitive and can increase the sensations of heartburn. Also, stress related to poor sleep has been shown in research to hypersensitize the esophagus and make reflux symptoms worse. So, an interesting note there. The fourth type of reflux that I want to address is actually not a specific diagnosis or type of reflux, but it's just a type of reflux that I see very frequently, and it's reflux that's being caused by a digestive issue like IBS, constipation, or SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So if you're having a digestive issue that's creating a lot of gas or bloating, this can put pressure on the lower esophageal sphincter and allow contents to move out of the stomach into the esophagus. Or maybe you have IBS constipation, you have a big backup of stool, things are not eliminating properly, and this can also create more reflux symptoms because of that pressure on the sphincter. It creates like a traffic jam in the intestines. So the root cause of your reflux, it might be upper GI, but it could also be lower GI. So again, it's really important that we look holistically at you, your symptoms, your nutrition, your lifestyle, your nervous system, and how your body is functioning in order to find relief from reflux. I have a free reflux meal plan and a free grocery guide to help support your next grocery shopping trip. So you want to grab those in the description down below. Don't forget to subscribe because we release weekly videos to help you support your digestion, prevent reflux, and optimize your health. So hit subscribe, hit the like button, and be sure to check out my reflux relief playlist.